You know, when you think of those classic tight-knit Italian-American communities, your mind probably jumps straight to the East Coast, right? But what happens when you take that culture and plant it in the wide-open, sun-baked landscape of the American West? Well, today we're going to look at how one community is building a whole new identity for itself out in Arizona, where old-world tradition meets a brand-new kind of frontier.
And this is the guy who's going to help us understand it all, Pete Melucci. This quote just nails it, doesn't it? It's this idea of navigating two completely different worlds. We're not just talking about moving from one city to another. It's about speaking two different cultural languages and somehow finding a way to connect them.
So, to really get what the challenge is in Arizona, we've got to start by understanding just how different these two coasts are. I mean, it's way more than just the miles between them. It's a totally different way of life, a different community structure, a different way of expressing your culture. And you can really see the culture shock laid out right here. On the East Coast, in a place like Pete's Brooklyn, you've got a ton of Italian Americans all living close together. That creates these dense, classic Italian neighborhoods, and with that comes a really powerful unified voice. But then you get out west, it's the complete opposite. The population is spread so thin, and folks are more assimilated. That strong community voice, it's naturally a lot quieter. Okay, so let's zoom in on Arizona, specifically, because that general West Coast experience, it gets turned up to 11 here. And it all really boils down to one single really important number. Less than 4%. Just think about that for a second. Like Pete says, in a lot of ways, it's just simple math. When your community is that small a slice of the pie, trying to be visible, trying to create that sense of togetherness, well, that becomes a huge, huge challenge.
And this slide, this is the real-world fallout from that number. Arizona is famous for its sprawl, right? Everything is built out, not up. And without that density, you just can't form those traditional neighborhoods. So everyone's fragmented, it's really hard to create a single powerful voice, and the whole landscape ends up being dominated by big chain stores instead of those authentic local mom-and-pop shops.
But here's the thing. A challenge like this doesn't have to lead to defeat. A lot of times, it leads to innovation. Faced with this totally unique situation, the community didn't just throw up their hands. Nope. They decided to build something brand new, something that was tailor-made for what they needed.
So how did the Arizona Italian-American Chamber of Commerce even happen? Well, it all started when they realized there was a real need. Business owners were looking for something more than just social clubs, playing cards and spaghetti dinners. They needed actual networking. So a new model was born, one focused on business referrals and making professional connections. And then the COVID-19 pandemic hit, and that was a massive catalyst. It pushed them into action to help all the small businesses that were really hurting. And from there, they adopted what they call an abundance mindset. They started thinking bigger, looking beyond Arizona to build national and even international connections.
But this whole story is about so much more than just business networking. It's about getting back to the core values of the culture and realizing, wow, these ideas are incredibly relevant to the problems we're all facing today.
This quote from Pete, thinking back on growing up in Brooklyn, man, it just gets right to the heart of it. It's such a powerful reminder that there's a different kind of wealth out there, one that has nothing to do with stuff. It's about community, that feeling of being all together, which, let's be honest, is something a lot of us are missing these days.
And it turns out these timeless values are exactly what people are looking for now. I mean, think about it. Everyone's obsessed with wellness, and they're looking to Italy's Blue Zone longevity and their serious food laws for answers on how to live healthier. And as we all deal with the loneliness that comes from social media, the Italian culture's focus on real, in-person relationships feels like the perfect antidote. It's all about prioritizing real family and real friends over a bunch of superficial online connections.
So, you've got this scattered local community. How in the world do you break out of that geographic bubble? Well, you start building bridges. You create events that are so good, they put you on the national map. And here is a perfect example of them knocking it out of the park. The National Italian-American Foundation's Arizona Gala. This thing has become a huge deal. And just look at the different kinds of people it brings in. They're honoring leaders in sports, in philanthropy, in the food world, and they're getting support from massive, iconic brands like Rouse. This is so much more than a local dinner. It's a high-profile event that shines a national spotlight on the community out in the Southwest.
And really, the ultimate proof that all this is working comes down to one simple thing. You don't have to be Italian to absolutely love Italian culture. As Pete points out, when you hear someone from a totally different background talking passionately about Italy, it's just this powerful reminder of how universal and timeless its appeal is.
There's a reason it's seen as one of the most desirable cultures in the entire world.
So we end with this question. In a time of digital isolation and endless sprawl, this story from Arizona kind of suggests that the values baked into our heritage, things like community, real connection, just being all together, they might be more vital than ever. It's not about trying to perfectly recreate the past. It's about using the wisdom from the past to build a better future. So the real question is, what power is just sitting there untapped in your own story?